is Sidebar. Sidebar, a frank discussion on life, the law, and liberty. Sponsored by the LaHood Norton Law Group. And now, your objection sustained. Your hosts, Karen Klaus and former Bexar County District Attorney, Nico LaHood.
Thank you so much for joining us this Saturday. This is Sidebar. If you'd like to join us on social media, go to sidebartv.com, and that's where you can find whichever choice you have. You can join us during the show and also after the show when we continue the conversation. And remember, sidebartv.com is also where you can contribute to the show. So, what is going on this week? I guess, can you say the Democrats had a pretty good night on Tuesday? They won New York City. Mamdani, big story. They also won in Virginia. First woman to become governor in Virginia in the state's history. They won in New Jersey. They won in California. Proposition 50, where Gavin Newsom had that redistricting plan, I guess, coming after Texas. That passed. And then in Pennsylvania, a couple of Supreme Court seats up for election. Oh, yes, and the government is still shut down. Hopefully we'll talk about that. Every week you can come here to hear the former Bexar County District Attorney, Nico LaHood, trial lawyer, managing partner of LaHood Norton Law Group, and George Araujo, scholar, former chemist, and pharmaceutical researcher and director. I guess the big question is, with all of these wins this past week, is this the blue wave, a foreshadowing, or is it just something that everyone expected?
I mean, you didn't say that Dems won Florida or Texas or another red state. I mean, these are all blue areas. I mean,
yep.
I mean, I guess Virginia was a little purplish, but when it wasn't, I think Youngkin was an offshoot. You know, you get too tired when the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of changing. You change, and so they changed for a little while. Youngkin was very popular, but I don't know. I mean, I try to pause and wait and see what this really means. Could this mean that that's what's going to happen on the midterms? Because the midterms is where it's at. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's about the midterms for me. I mean, if we lose Congress and if the Republicans lose whatever, then Trump's going to be impeached. There's going to be all kinds of committees and this investigation and that again. And we already know. Yeah, his presidency is going to come to a halt. So, I mean, this could be a blessing in disguise, and we could talk about that here in a little while. But I don't know. I mean, I just didn't think anything. I'm more concerned about kind of this Islamic movement more than I am about the Dems taking over these states that I don't think anybody thought Republicans were going to win. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been out of it, been in trial. But George, you tell me what you think.
I think you bring up two important points. I don't know that they're separate. The fact that you have an Islamic rise in the United States, and we need to deal very seriously with it. And I don't think politicians are, I mean, outside of guys who've been very, very forward about it, like Greg Abbott and Chip Roy, interestingly, out of Texas. And Texas certainly isn't safe from this. I mean, we're seeing the rapid Islamization of Texas as we speak. A lot of people aren't aware of it, and that is an issue that needs to be dealt with. But you also have a Democrat socialism uprising in the United States, particularly among young persons. And it's rapid, it's significant, and it's pervasive. And these two they're hand in glove, right? Islamofascism
yes.
Certainly gets built on the foundations of socialism and socialistic ideals, where you concentrate power in the hands of a few in government. And Islam brings a certain theology to that. But at the end of the day, it's really sort of the same movement from the same offshoot. And we have to be careful about that. So is it a harbinger of things to come in the midterm elections? Or is it a nothing burger? I don't think it's a nothing burger. I don't think it's a harbinger of things to come, but I think there's some warnings that the GOP needs to take from this. What are those warnings? These are blue states, fair enough, but I've heard a lot of people sort of simplify that. I think it's dangerous to simplify that. Yes, they were blue states. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Northern Virginia voters who are Democrats. Same thing in New York City. Same thing in New Jersey.
A lot of federal workers too, and the shutdown doesn't help. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of factors to consider. I just don't know. I mean, do you love to see it? And here's the deal. It's not that I don't love to see it. It's because, you know me, I'm about ideas. I mean, that's it. I'm more about ideas than I am about a platform. A platform is just is what it is. I mean, these political parties are just platforms to advocate ideas. And so, when people say, "Oh, you're this, you're that," or "You used to be a Democrat, now you're a Republican," well, I vote a certain way, except when it comes to local county judge and district judge races, because that should be nonpartisan, by the way. And I'll get on that rant when we get to voting time. But aside from that, I mean, I'm for ideas, and so which side which will support the ideas that I think even the people that disagree with me will bless them as well. That's it, because some ideas have to win out. And when I tell people, or when I recommend to people to vote, when you looking at voting for somebody, you're not really voting for the person, you're voting for the ideas that the person is advocating. Yes, it's a twofer if you like the person and the person's whatever dynamic and this and authentic and genuine and consistent and all the things that we look for hopefully in public servants that are not there. But still, it's really the ideas that they're implementing, because the ideas should outlive the person in that position, because it's going to affect everybody in that community. So, I mean, I again, you know me, I really loathe this tribalism mindset, and I know that that's the way it is, and I can't change it for now, but I still have to advocate for people to surround themselves around ideas. And so it's not that, Democrats, no, it's the ideas that bother me. Look, I disagree with Republicans on certain things too, and there's people that are quote-unquote Republican that suck, and I mean, I don't like them as people, and I'll pray for them, I guess, if I need to, and then talk to them about their salvation, but I don't like them, and I'll resist them too if I think their ideas suck. But that's it for me. So I just don't believe in the modern political arena that we're in. I don't believe that the Democrat ideas that they're advocating as a whole, I'm not saying each individual one, as a whole are going to make this country flourish. That's just my opinion, and I can discuss it with someone, and I'm happy to be wrong, but you better bring some evidence.
But those ideas will flourish, and the country won't, because there isn't sufficient pushback. I just went back, and there's just all kinds of issues. Yeah, we've addressed the fact that there's, Democrats do what Democrats do in Democrat areas that tend to vote Democrat. Got it. But there's other issues. I don't think the candidates are particularly strong. I don't think they
on the
look great.
Republican side?
That's and Curtis Sliwa, can we say anything more about that? I mean, he grossly underperformed relative to the polls. He was coming in at 14-15%. He ultimately ended at 7 and 7.5%, so a lot less than what he was.
Who's this?
Curtis Sliwa.
Oh, the
beret guy, your favorite guy.
My favorite dude.
Right. Same thing happened in New Jersey with Chattarelli. I mean, this is the third time, and it wasn't the charm, that he ran for office, and he polled, he polled much higher than where he came in at. I mean, he lost by 13 points, Nico. Trump overperformed compared to every single one of these people. Winsome Sears, nice lady, traditional, conservative. I don't think her posing with rifles is what's going to do it in Virginia. Frankly, she tried to distance herself with Trump on more than one occasion. I don't think that helps her. I mean, when you look at how they performed, it wasn't even close. Democrats just completely lambasted their ass compared to Trump. Trump did much, much better, interestingly enough. So what happened? Like, where's the disconnect between November of 2024 and now, Nico? That's what I'm perplexed by.
Well, have you looked at the numbers? Is this a repudiation of Trump, or is this a crappy candidates?
I think it's
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're saying that. I think that's what you want it to be, Karen, but what is it?
I don't think it's a repudiation of Trump. I think there are legitimate lessons for the GOP. I think it's a repudiation of the GOP in general. These people weren't Trump. I mean, the numbers are staggering. I just mentioned one where Sliwa came in at 7.5% ultimately, and he polled at about 14-15%. Trump was at like 30% in New York City. Sliwa was at 7.5%. That's the Republican proxy, if you will. That's not even close. Chattarelli, Trump lost New Jersey, which is distinctly blue. It's not purple. He lost it by 6 points. Chattarelli was down by 13.
Yeah, but people voted for Trump that aren't Republican in this last election.
No,
I mean, Dearborn, Michigan voted for Trump. So I mean, I don't know if that's not a Dearborn, Michigan's not voting for another Republican.
The point is that Trump pulled Republicans, low propensity Republican voters. He pulled independents, and he pulled even some Democrats. And those people were nowhere to be found on the GOP ticket. And that's concerning to me. Winsome Sears got destroyed in Virginia, down by 15 points. Trump only lost by 5, relatively speaking. Those are big differences. And to your point, it's not just Republican. He pulled out independents. He was cross-demographic. So these people weren't Trump. So what was the issue? We saw a lot of exit polling where people were bitching, quite frankly, about the economy.
That seems to be the big topic.
This was an issue. And so Trump's been doing amazing things, in my view, overseas, right? He's been redirecting supply chains, and he's been putting alliances together and decoupling dependency from China. The reality is Trump has been outside our borders a lot. He needs to pull some of that magic inside. That message isn't getting across inside, Nico. Well, people are concerned about the rent. They're concerned about putting gas in their car. They're concerned about groceries. I mean, the Democrats have been, really for months, they've just doubling down on nonsense about these issues, but it's resonated with voters. I think the GOP has a lot to do in terms of getting the message out. They're doing all the right things, but solutions nobody knows about.
It seems to me, yes, of course, the economy is a big issue still. But it seems to me the things that the Democrats were boasting about, like, I thought he was going to fix the economy. When it comes to gas, come on, the prices went down. It's ridiculous to still talk about the price of eggs, but anybody saying that they're paying $16 a dozen eggs, they're like getting it from the Golden Goose or something. But it still doesn't feel right when Trump says you're going to pay 24% less for your Thanksgiving dinner, because people are still struggling.
I want to ask you about that, because I think that's going to really affect. That's the one thing I saw.
I just don't want us to get into the arena where Biden and the Democrats were like, well, inflation's not real. It's transitory. You don't believe your lying eyes. I mean, that's what.
Okay, it's weird. Talk about stealing my thunder. I was literally, because you brought up Trump on 60 Minutes. Remember, you said he did a really good job. I'd like to ask you about that.
All right.
Because this issue came up, and I think this is the one issue he flopped.
Got him paranoid about the break, Karen. Look at him. He's quieting down.
I don't mean for you to shut up when I point at the clock, George. I just wanted to tell you that.
PTSD from all the waving.
Okay, please stick with us. Remember, sidebartv.com. That's where you can find our online platforms, but we want you to come back. We'll be taking a break now, but coming back with more on Sidebar.
$7,700. LaHoodNorton.com.
This is Nico LaHood. If you or a loved one has been arrested or accused of a crime, we can help.
LaHoodNorton.com.
1200 WOAI. This is Sidebar. Go to sidebartv.com and join us as we continue the show only on social media starting at 10 o'clock. You guys are talking about so many things that I can't keep up with you. I heard you say Charlie Kirk. I heard you say, interviews that are going on. But really, there are so many factors, including the economy, that I think are affecting these voting. And then Alex on Facebook said he believed that in New York, the vote was very similar to San Antonio, that only 12% of the people came out to vote. And of course, that's just the way it went, because Mamdani just got those votes for the people that were coming out. Is it all of those things?
Well, if we're switching to Mamdani, yes. It's a lot. Look, it's interesting to me. I saw somebody throw up a stat, an exit poll, and I did not like I said, we're doing closing arguments on Monday, so finally the 4.5-week trial is coming to a close. But 30% of the Jewish population in New York voted for Mamdani. Is that true, George? If that's true, that's interesting to me.
It's much more significant than we'd like it to be. But this isn't new for left-wing.
But what I'm saying,
Jews. They vote for their own demise over and over again, don't they?
Well, I guess yes. Just study the scriptures.
Why? I know.
Well, all I'm saying is why? What does this mean? Obviously, immigrants voted more for Mamdani than traditional New Yorkers, and that's true too. Cuomo was not the horse, and then Red Beret dude. What's just joke. Republicans can't go back to the old way of just throwing a candidate in there. We do it here locally. We do it there nationally, statewide. Just throw a candidate in there. I think what they need to figure out, Republicans, if they want to, be contenders and stay contenders, and that's why all these people that celebrated Trump winning is like, okay, great, enjoy it for a night and then get back to work. I mean, which is what I brought up Charlie Kirk and why his loss is such a big hit to the quote-unquote conservative movement. And conservative movement is separate than the Republican Party, in my opinion. And just my thoughts, because it's a set of ideas that the Republican Party welcomes, and that's good. But I'm just saying, it's conservative movement is something in its own that is welcomed by the Republican Party. But that's why this matters, and there's no planning, because when Trump is no longer in office, I get that we have a quote-unquote deep bench or whatever you want to say, but who's going to step up? I mean, J.D. Vance is great, but he doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have the allure. He doesn't have the gravitas, if you want to say. He doesn't attract things. I mean, he's not risque enough. I mean, and you can't manufacture that. You can't manufacture it. Either you have it or you don't. And that's why Newsom comes across like a snake salesman, because he doesn't know who the hell he is. And he'll say this, and he talks to this person, and he takes this position, but he's such a good BSer that he can pull it off. I mean, Rubio's great. I mean, I think Rubio's great. I mean, we have a lot of people that could, but there's not another Trump. And for all his strengths and weaknesses, I mean, for good and bad. And I just think there needs to be a strategy on communication, on young people, because people are finicky, and they'll shift, as you can see. And the border was a big issue, and the border's taken care of, and all of a sudden, I want to see how the Valley votes in this midterm. I think it's going to be interesting.
It'll be interesting.
I think that's really good advice, and I mean, this gets into the Get Out the Vote campaign, which virtually did not happen in any of these states,
well,
particularly in
Laura
Virginia.
Trump is no longer with the Republican.
I was going to say, where was the RNC? I mean, we heard about them over and over again. They were being strategic. Proactive. They were targeting demographics, and it worked very, very effectively in the leading up to November 2024. That did not happen here. Clearly did not happen. You can just see it in the number of the votes. It was stunning to me. For instance, Trump, I'm trying to remember here, I think in Chattarelli lost by he was down 635,000 votes.
Yeah.
And then Trump only lost by about 200,000 votes. And then Winsome Sears, by the end of the night, she was down by 500,000 votes. That's about, Trump was less than half that.
That's a shellac.
So where were these people? Why didn't they show up?
But then you have to ask yourself, have you looked at, but she won lieutenant governor. She won on her own. It's not like she won a ticket.
With respect, I think she won on the coattails of Youngkin.
Well, I got it, but what I'm saying is she still won on her own. I mean, she wasn't the VP. It's not like J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, yes, won an election, helped win an election, but Harris was elected by the people because they voted for Biden. No, she was the Klingon. She was the tag along. All the VPs are. Yes, they make a difference, but sometimes you're voting for the president. So Winsome Sears won.
Wait, I want to understand that. In your view, do people vote for the guy on top of the ticket? I mean,
yes.
Right. So
all I'm saying is Sears won on her own. She won her own lieutenant governor race, right? She wasn't the VP for Youngkin. They voted for her separately.
True.
Okay, well, I mean, that means something. So people actively voted for her, and then they went away from her. You would think that a lieutenant governor, if you like what the governor did, and they're equally yoked, and they're doing well together, and they support each other, and I'm assuming he endorsed her.
Well, that's my question to you. I mean, how many people actually know anything about the lieutenant governor's platform? I mean, they're technically voting for the person at the top of the ticket. Most people don't know anything about the lieutenant governor. They care about the person at the top of the ticket. So that's what I meant when I said Youngkin came in. And he was kind of he was truly an oddity, like you said earlier. I mean, it was in the advent of COVID. People were absolutely fed up. The government censor machine was out of control, shutdown era. This guy comes in, and he's real smooth talking. He's kind of guy you want to just chill out and have a conversation with. Winsome Sears didn't carry that kind of campaign. She really didn't. So I don't know. I think he successfully campaigned. She wasn't successful at all. And Jason Miatis, the AG, I mean, you had an assassination-minded AG candidate who won compared to Jason Miatis. I mean, what's going on here? Like, the voters literally didn't care. I mean, it's almost like, with all the lawfare against Trump, with all the threats that he was Hitler and that he was a threat to democracy, all people cared about at the end of the day was immigration and the economy. And I think at the end of the day, they carried him over the top. I think the same dynamic happened here in reverse. I think people... Think about it. You had an AG who was talking about putting 2 bullets in the Speaker of the House of Virginia. Didn't matter at the end of the day. No. What was he talking about? Same old stuff Mamdani was talking about, that Abigail Spanberger was mindlessly, by the way, talking about. Watch her interview on NPR. She sounded just like Kamala Harris, totally incoherent, said absolutely nothing about anything. It was a shellacking in her favor. At the end of the day, people tuned out all those inadequacies and they focused on, I'm telling you, they focused on the pocketbook. And the GOP better listen. That's the one thing I think transfers to the midterms. All the other stuff, I think, is patently irrelevant. But that stuff, the economy, like,
well, it's always the economy, stupid. What do they say? It's the economy.
It's still
stupid.
the economy,
I'm not calling you stupid. I'm saying the economy, stupid. That's what it's always been. And so, which I think is unfortunate because you have economic swings and you have cycles and there's cyclical things that happen. There's corrections they call. I'm not an economist. I mean, I was a finance major, so I know enough about it. It's been so long, but I mean, you know enough about it because I'm an observer. But it's unfortunate that people are that fickle to me. I mean, look at New York. I mean, this is not new for New York. I mean, in the 70s and 80s, they went through hell, and it was crime-ridden. It wasn't religiously, ideologically invaded like it is now. And again, we need to talk about that. That just has to be a discussion that people need to understand. They really need to see the videos going around. They need to see what's going on. They need to study what happened in the UK. They just need to understand it. And whether you're right, left, whatever, because the left is not going to do well in an Islamic mindset. I mean, if you just study an Islamic culture, that's it. I mean, it's not a mean statement. I'm a student and I want to learn and I want to see, okay, again, I want to understand what you're advocating for. I want to understand what your ideals are. I want to understand the implication. I want to see your ideas in practice. What do they look like? Because an idea sounds great, like an hypothesis, until you test it. You have a I don't know the science. You know the scientific message. Your hypothesis before you test it. What is it? What you have before you test it? Is it your hypothesis?
Yeah, it's your hypothesis.
Okay, great. Yeah. And you test it. So the wonderful idea, but then test it. And so I've seen these ideas tested. That's all. I mean, and people are trying to shut you down and call you names. I mean, you got pastors finally talking up about it and they're called names. No, how about we just talk? Because nobody calls names the other way. And so all I'm saying is a set of ideas that the Republican Party is supposed to support. They need to do better at marketing those ideas. They need to talk about it. They need to find good surrogates. They need to make sure they get their message out. They need to go on this speaker tour again. That's why I brought up Charlie Kirk, Karen, on the break, because he was a very effective advocate, And then, this show is not about his assassination and the investigation, all that stuff. That's a different topic, and we can talk about that at some point. But I don't know. I'm just saying that the Republicans better wake the hell up.
Amen. And they ran on immigration and economy. They solved number one. People can tangibly see what's going on with illegal immigration. Tangibly, it's everywhere.
Sure.
But they can't tangibly feel what's going on with the economy. A lot of really important things are happening right now, but people aren't feeling the benefit of that. That's an issue. It really is. And no one's communicating. You brought this up. I thought you might continue the point because I think it's valid. But the reality is we're in transition from chaos into order. And disruption is what we're in the middle of right now. This is a season of disruption. And so we should be communicating through this disruption and educating people. And we're not. You brought up 60 Minutes. I hadn't seen the video until Nico brought it up, and you were pretty impressed the way Trump handled himself. I agree. I went back and I listened to it.
I haven't seen it. Please tell us about it.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. But the one thing, and I cringed a little bit, and I think it showed up in this election, is that she was asked about tariffs and inflation. And I thought that would have been a great opportunity for him to wax eloquent on this because he has the capability to do that. And he basically said, tariffs aren't inflationary. And then she asked her about inflation. He said, there's no inflation. He literally said there's no inflation. Now, he could have said inflation has come down from what it used to be, but he said there's no inflation, and we've hit that magic number of 2%. It's perfect. No, we're not. That's simply not true. Inflation is much closer to 3% than it is 2%. He should have explained why. And so he kind of dismissed that. And then
do a compare and contrast to Biden's inflation, which was what, 9%, whatever.
Yeah.
It was insane.
So talk about it getting better, but don't say it's nothing.
I know.
Don't blow it off. And so Vance has been much better about this.
He's out the phone call, perfect. Everything's perfect. It's just a perfect phone call, perfect inflation.
But I'm just saying he's not weak in this. This is a strength. Talk about your strength. Don't just say, it doesn't exist. Of course it exists. It's an issue, and people hear that, and the GOP's silent on it. And to the extent you have anybody posting on economic issues, they sound just like Democrats.
Well, I know this wasn't the topic, but I was, every once in a while I pick my head up from being underwater this last 4.5 weeks, and there's a rift with Marjorie Taylor Greene. It seems like there's a rift inside the Republican Party too, which is interesting. Yeah. I haven't had a chance to research. I saw one of her interviews that she was talking about it, Look, there's unfortunately a disconnect. There's a struggle, and that happens in big organizations. Where Democrats went through it, and that's what we have. Trump got back in office, so we capitalized on that. People have a tendency to go back to, they love to hear good things about their bad habits. And if you just study biblical times and just study the book of Judges, I mean, you get people that needed a savior and they get saved. They get some less than perfect judge to correct them, and they celebrate, we repent, we're good, and then they go back to the same slop that they went to before, and that happened 12 times. And so this is the human nature in flesh. And so there needs to be a complete transformation of mindset, in my humble opinion, like what Bukele has done to his country. I mean, think about it. Here's a country that it was just riddled with crime, death, murder, and he brought a whole set of ideas that everybody bought in on. I mean, this guy got reelected by 87% or whatever it is. Yeah, insane. Right. That guy can stay there as long as he wants. And he seems like he's blessing his people. I mean, good for them. I mean, God bless them. And they're the safest country now in that region from the most dangerous. And so you have to buy in, is my point. People have to get to a point of so much pain that they say, we will never go back to these set of ideas that got us here. Now, that's why I'm curious to test that during the midterms on the border in the valley and see where they're at. So maybe they don't like X, Y, and Z, but hey, that border is secure now, so I don't know.
It may sound shallow, but as we head into holiday season, people are thinking, when do I get to quit my second and third job? Because I'm still trying to make ends meet, and how is this going to end up even in the next couple of months? It's surface, but at the same time, I don't think the Islamic rise in the United States is the thing that's on the top of their minds. They're thinking, I still don't have any money in my pocket, and things are going to get worse because I got to buy presents. It's just the American way.
Valid.
So,
Karen, look at the clock, please.
Oh, we are going to take a break right now. Thank you, Nico, for bringing it to my attention. We're going to take a break right now, but we will be right back with more on Sidebar. Please stick with us and go check out sidebartv.com so you can stick with us after the show. We'll be right back.
San Antonio's news, weather, traffic, plus breaking news 24/7. This is News Radio 1200 WOAI from the GiveMeTheVin.com Sell Us Your Cars studio.
I'm Eric Lycum at News Radio 1200 WOAI. Former President Biden takes President Trump to task over SNAP benefits funding amid the shutdown. Details coming up. First, traffic and weather together.
The WOAI Traffic Center.
Loop 1604 eastbound between Lock and Terra Parkway and Northwest Military Highway. We've got that roadway closed due to construction. Over on 35 northbound, the off-ramp to Evans Road is closed due to construction. I'm Alexis, News Radio 1200 WOAI.
On our way to 89 sunny, 74 now at the WOAI 24-hour weather center. Our top story. The Supreme Court yesterday temporarily blocked a federal judge's order for the Trump administration to fully fund SNAP. Speaking at an annual fundraising gala in Omaha, Nebraska, former President Joe Biden criticizes President Trump for not funding SNAP in the first place.
Now we have a president who's deliberately making hunger worse for Americans.
Attorney General Ken Paxton suing the school district in Galveston, refusing to hang posters of the Ten Commandments in classrooms. Several other districts also refused to post the Ten Commandments, saying that it's unconstitutional. A suit was heard this week in San Antonio. The conservative Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans will hear a challenge in January. News on demand at WOAI.com. Breaking information as it happens. I'm Eric Lycum on San Antonio's news, weather, and traffic station. News Radio 1200 WOAI.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. New at Lowe's, Pro Block Quick Dry Primer. Expertly manufactured by Sherwin-Williams. Engineered for pros to dry fast, lock stains, and go on smooth for virtually flawless results. Available now in oil and water-based. Grab yours today at Lowe's.
1200 WOAI, this is Sidebar. I said it before and I'll say it again. Go to sidebartv.com. Please consider contributing to the show and also get on a social media platform so that you can be part of the after show that starts at 10 a.m. So we talked about the economy, and yes, things are getting better according to President Trump. The tariffs are helping. We're putting money back into the Treasury, but the bottom line is, like, for example, in New York, people still voted for a man who's basically a communist. And I still can't understand why that would be something that happens. Like, what would make sane people vote for that?
The NBC exit polling said that on the issues that you're bringing up, Nico, people got it. In other words, he lost the immigration vote because he can't have enough foreign-born people in New York City, and people don't like that. He lost that vote by 26 points.
The people that are against illegal immigration.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and he lost that in the exit polling from NBC. He lost the crime voters by 41 points. But he won the cost of living voters by 36 points, and they constitute 55% of the electorate.
Wow. And how many people voted? I mean, what percentage of registered voters?
Oh, the point was valid. I mean, the turnout wasn't
12% is what I heard.
Well, then that's a whole other issue. If you sit on your ass, you get the government you deserve. I got it.
But make it make sense to somebody like me. So 46% he loses by this one area, he loses another area by 20-something%, but then wins another area by 36%. So obviously these people have prioritized, because there's not that many numbers there, these people that are on the 46 and the 20-something% against him, they prioritize the economic vote because there's got to be some people.
I think that's precise. That's well said. That's the issue.
I mean, you put 40-something and 20-something together, it's way more than 36.
Yeah,
so
I think
there must be some.
I think that's the issue. Immigration mattered, and he lost that.
They prioritized.
Exactly. And the crime mattered. He lost that. But on cost of living, because they constituted a significant portion of the electorate that actually came out, he won that by 36 points, and that carried him over the top. The point is, you see that thread between New York City, Virginia, and New Jersey. You see it. And I understand that we're talking about Democrats in Democrat areas that vote Democrat. I got that. That doesn't help. But again, we should always start at home. Look in the mirror. What could you have done better? We just did very poorly. The GOP didn't do any communicating with the electorate. They did nothing to target people on the issues that really matter to people. And I think I think this cost them. And again, go back to that interview with Trump. And 60 Minutes. Norah O'Donnell says, can you just answer that question that tariffs have led to inflation? They have led to an increase in cost of living for most Americans. Trump says, quote, they haven't led to inflation, which is true, but he didn't explain. We have no inflation. We have no inflation. Biden had inflation, and he didn't have tariffs. He didn't use tariffs. And then he says, you know what? Inflation, I've already taken care of inflation. It's at 2%. It's the perfect inflation. Back to your point. You knew that was coming. And I have no inflation. We don't have any inflation. Essentially, we don't have inflation.
As people are going
voters
on to their second job.
Voters aren't there.
If you're going to be an objective critic, and look, I voted for Trump, then it's like saying there's no problem with the border. The border's secure. I mean, I'm thinking of that.
You're so right.
Dipwit, what's his name? Mayorkas or whatever?
Yeah, that's a great point.
When I heard that,
yeah,
because I didn't hear that from the interview. Maybe I was in the middle of the trial, and like I said, I was chipping away at it when I was listening to it because it's whatever hour long.
Interesting.
And so, but that's when you just said that, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Well, the border's secure. What are you talking about? What do you mean about border secure? Okay, I mean, I guess so. That's unfortunate. Look, I mean, the guy's not perfect. There's no doubt about that. And in the end, I have to make an assessment that okay, that's what I'm saying. You vote for the ideas, not for the person sometimes. And you have to get past the person. I mean, early on, the first time I voted for Trump, I had to get past the person. The second time, I mean, I understood his personality more, and so it wasn't always my cup of tea on the way he handled things. I mean, people say that about me too, and that's fine. You have a right to your opinion. But it's what set of ideas do you want to implement long term? I mean, and again, this is what worries me when I think about winning for the next 20 years. And like I said, China and Russia, those leaders aren't going anywhere. I mean, they're going to fill them up with drugs and keep them going and put a mummy of them if you have to. They're not. They're there for a long time, and every 4 years we're fighting for those set of ideas. That's what's important to me. Can we get back to the foundation of this country? I really wish there would be, and that's why I think Charlie was such a big loss. I mean it, and I'm open-minded to whatever the cause was. I'm just not like some people making conclusions right now. I'm going to wait for the process and the investigation go on, but I'm also not going to shut the door either like other people because they want it to be a certain way. So I mean, because I've seen zero evidence. That's it. I just saw a video of him getting assassinated. So all that to say is, along past that, we have to have a set of ideas and go back to our founding principles because we agreed on things. We disagreed on implementation of the same ideas, but we agreed on the same ideas. We weren't arguing for a different United States. Today, what I think, and I'm not being a doom and gloom guy, what I think our country is is in the process of decline, and it will. I don't think it can survive this because I've seen no hope in it surviving this. Is because we're arguing over the foundation. Doesn't matter. I mean, if you have a foundation and you frame a house, to our builder to my left, if you have a good foundation and good bones, as you always say when you're talking about a structure, well, you can decorate it the way you want to. You can implement the look of the house the way you want to, and the design and the staging of the house the way you want to. But it's still a good house. It's got good bones and a good foundation. We have gotten away from that. We have two platforms. We have two parties that are arguing for a different America. Not even close. As I always bring up that example when I was running under the Democrat platform for DA, and I had this family friend who was a staunch Republican, and he says, he started a group, Republicans for Nico, blah, 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 and he was just diehard. And he says, I don't care what anyone thinks, I'm in with you. And then he gave me that example of the football field, since we're in football season.
I love that.
You know, where the Republican, we started on our 40-yard line, and the Democrats started on their 40-yard line, and we were really just fighting over the 20 yards in the middle. That's how it's always been usually. Now, one's on, I mean, back then he said 5 or 10-yard line. Now it's like we're on each other's goal lines. There's nothing we agree on. And that's unfortunate, and that's what worries me. So I'm worried about that. I'm worried about my kids and my future grandkids. And that's why, to me, Charlie Kirk's lost, and people, because I don't think there's another one of him. Because Ben Shapiro drives me nuts. That guy's an idiot. And then you go Mark, and you got all these other people out there that, and then you got Candace on the other side, and all these other people, and it's weird right now. And it's like, what do we believe in, and what do we want? And then there's no continuity between both quote unquote sides, and that's concerning to me.
So we used to agree on the big things.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sort of like any marriage, right?
I mean, just listen to the videos, George.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I agree. And so parties vehemently disagreed around things, but they agreed on the big things. And so I think we were able to have a thriving republic for so many years, for centuries, indeed. And I think that's coming apart. It's the ideas that are being implemented also, but not communicated. This is a tough time for people. No one's out there. I mean, all dressed up, nowhere to go type stuff. Here's J.D. Vance on the day after the election. Quote, "We need to focus on the home front. The president has done a lot that has already paid off in lower interest rates and lower inflation. But we inherited a disaster from Joe Biden, and Rome wasn't built in a day." You see what's changed there? See what he's talking about? Guess how much of that was said prior to the election? 0. That should have been said every single day, and it should have been explained. We got to focus on the home front. The president's done a lot that has paid off in lower interest rates. How about energy policy? How about reshoring and building up the American manufacturing base? How about walking? I mean, you can't hold press conferences and do this. They did it prior to November 2024. But we inherited a disaster from Joe Biden. What does that mean? Reacquaint people with November of 2024. Because, in the 24/7 news cycle, people apparently have forgotten. And now they're feeling the pain. Rome wasn't built in a day. We're going to keep working to make a decent life affordable in the country, he said. So Vance got it. And that's the metric by which we'll ultimately be judged in 2026 and beyond.
Now,
right.
here's the potential silver lining, in my humble opinion. Could this act as the Republicans' midterm? And they wake their asses up and say, okay, JD, look at that. JD Vance said that after instead of before.
Right.
And that should have been on news cycle everywhere over and over again.
Yes.
And they did it. I mean, whether it was because of the combination of the Charlies and this and Laura Trump and all these other people running and organizing with people and even smaller organizations, but there was a narrative and there was a message and talking points. And whether you disagree with them or not, but they took a playbook out of the Democrats' schedule. I mean, marketing. And so they weren't doing that. It's like they got too comfortable, and all the wins, quote unquote, they believed Trump was getting, thought that they could speak for themselves. No, they can't. They don't speak for themselves. If I present evidence to a jury but don't explain it or don't have the right witness to talk about it, it's going to fall on deaf ears. Doesn't matter how good I think the evidence is. When someone says, "Oh, I love your cross-examination," or "Love the opening, love the closing," I don't care if I don't get the vote. If the jury doesn't come back it doesn't matter how good anything was in a jury.
See, this is the crux of the issue. This is how we win or lose 2026. They passed the one big, beautiful bill. That's an important piece of legislation. It's huge. It's a huge, huge piece of legislation that helps the country. But have they made it tangible? They have not. They absolutely have not. They've not communicated that accomplishment to voters in practical ways that people can understand. I mean, they did a great job passing it, and it was it was truly yeoman's work. But I mean, you got to sell it now in practical ways. I mean, it's been crickets since the passage of the bill. And the only thing that's getting airtime is how grannies aren't getting their subsidies and how women, infants, and children aren't getting their food assistance. And, it's all that's what's filling the airwaves, doing nothing to push back on it. I'm telling you, this was a gift. To your point, I think this was a gift. It's a warning about people care about. Say what you want about anti-Semitism in New York City. Say what you want about socialism. All those things are valid. I'm prickly when it comes to socialism and communism. But at the end of the day, voters said, I care about the fact that I can't put gas in my car still. I still can't pay my rent. My groceries are still too expensive. That's, at the end of the day, what people went to the ballot for and pulled the lever for. So I think this is a gift, and I hope we're listening.
Well,
sounds like Vance's.
I think there's two positions on New York, since I guess we're transitioning in New York full-time now. But I think some people are saying, like, good, screw New York. It doesn't affect my life. Who cares? Let's see. Now we can all watch. Is it a petri tree? Well, let's all watch the experiment when you put it. You go into the laboratory and let's sit back and watch now this experiment play out and see. But then the other side goes like, I don't want to lose New York. That's how UK is in the position they're in. I mean, they lost one city at a time. One city at a time. Now, thank God that nut job in Minneapolis or whatever. Was it Minneapolis?
Omar Fateh or Omar Fateh? Yeah,
I don't know what the hell, but that weird dude.
The Democrat socialist Omar Fateh.
Yeah.
He lost. He lost. But the council, the council's filled it with Democratic Socialists. Interesting that he lost, but the entire council is Democratic Socialists of America.
I'm telling you, man, this goes back to your point about schooling. It goes back about education. It goes back to academia and why education and why this Charlie Kirk movement and Turning Point USA. And I think Turning Point's gonna. It's just I'm just seeing them flounder, in my opinion. No one has
Nobody
the personality.
likes Erica Kirk. No one likes her. Seriously, come on.
I have
Let's
mixed feelings.
just say that.
I don't know why.
There's more negative than positive about
it's
her.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, we can talk about that if you want to, or talk about in the after show. I have my opinions if you want to ask. And I saw her interview, some of it. I didn't watch all of it, with Jesse Waters, which I thought was one of her better appearances. But look, there's disarray right now. There's no doubt about that. And so Republicans better get their crap together.
Find their footing.
Yeah, for 226.
Okay, we're going to take a break right now. We have one more segment. Be sure and get on social media right now. But we're coming back, so stick with us.
With reputations as respected high-level prosecutors in Bexar County, the attorneys of LaHood Norton Law Group bring invaluable practical knowledge from the other side of the aisle, using over 70 years of combined experience to strategically advocate clients' rights and pursue the best possible outcome.
I'm Nico LaHood with LaHood Norton Law Group. Have you been arrested or accused of a crime? The LaHood Norton Law Group has the knowledge to defend you regardless of how small or large your case. In Bexar County, anywhere in the state, or even nationwide, we have the knowledge to defend you in federal or state court, no matter how small or large your case. We are trial lawyers with proven success.
Using their 70 years of combined experience to strategically advocate for their clients' rights and pursue the best possible outcome. The LaHood Norton Law Group. For a free consultation, call today, 210-797-7700. 210-797-7700. LaHoodNorton.com.
This is Nico LaHood. If you or a loved one has been arrested or accused of a crime, we can help.
LaHoodNorton.com.
This is Sidebar. You can go to sidebartv.com and join us on social media as we continue the show in about 12 minutes. One thing that we were talking about earlier is the young people and the vote, how it just like immediately went to this as, what did he call himself? Democrat, socialist, or communist, or whatever it is. The guy in New York, it was like mostly young people that voted for him. I still don't understand what it is about young people that just don't get it.
Is it not economic primarily, Nico? You graduate from college, you're saddled with student loan debt. We're over $2 trillion in student loans. So they rope these people in for ideological purposes. They teach them nothing. They know nothing about anything. And they graduate with degrees in women's studies. Okay, and the degree in equity studies.
Right.
And so you graduate with a know-nothing degree that actually teaches you everything that's wrong, and you have no marketability. You can't find a job. And then at the end of the day, they reward the very ideology, to your point, that created the issue. To vote for Mamdani, who wants to cap rents, who wants to give away free transportation. They're in a deficit. How? They can't think. They don't have the ability to think rationally. They're just filled with emotion. They're filled with hate against the ultra-Christian nationalist patriarchy. This nonsense. They're not marketable. And at the end of the day, they end up rewarding the very people who created that environment. So that's the issue. They came out on economics. Affordability was the word that he used, and it connected. But it doesn't help when you don't know anything about anything. So,
and it doesn't help when President Trump doesn't explain to everybody that it's more than just like $80 eggs or something like that.
Communism sucks, but it's brilliant. I mean, it just sort of creates its own self.
It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Is
I mean, why do you think? I mean, I deal with it. Why do you think Ponzi schemes work? It's because there's an allure to it. People want to believe, but I really, I mean, I can't tell you how many schemes that I've either prosecuted or had to defend or evaluate, to where someone said, "Hey, give me this much money, and you'll get this much money back." Well, the bank system got caught up in Jakar or whatever the hell, and this, and we need an exchange. But if you give me this much more money, now we can get it. Okay, and then just you're draining this up, or with a construction project, or whatever the scheme is planned. I mean, and people.
It used to be the old lady on the phone,
well,
but not anymore.
We want to believe what we want to believe. We want to be told good things about our false beliefs, and so that's why Ponzi schemes and communism is a big Ponzi scheme. There's been no example, and yes, it hasn't been applied right. Yes, it has. It's been applied exactly how it's supposed to be applied. It's about domination. It's about power. It's about making sure that there's no other entity or worldview that can control the people, the masses. So that's why religion, God has to be dead for communism to work. And if they pull people away from that, and then you can't be a thinker, and you definitely can't have free speech, and you can't. So they just strip you of all the liberties of the United States. That's what worries me, because people are advocating for a very different country. But now on the flip side of it, I'm seeing Republicans advocate for cancel culture and cancel this and get them off that. And it's like, man, then you don't believe what you believe either. That's why when we get in our nice discussions on due process or whatever, or free speech or what, I mean, I believe in a principle, and it applies to everyone. And so when Republicans start advocating for what we criticize Democrats for doing, then I call BS on that. And then you don't believe in that principle. Then you believe in opportunism. So then don't call yourself a conservative, or don't call yourself a constitutionalist, or don't call yourself a whatever. And so I this is I hope it's a wake-up call. I mean, obviously, I'm always hopeful, because I'm going to keep on fighting the good fight, as they say, until the Lord calls me off this battlefield. But I do worry about the world I'm going to leave back to our kids. And I know that, I mean, I didn't stop thinking that just because Trump won. I don't understand why people said, oh, Trump won. Okay, great. And enjoy it for a second and get back to, I mean, so that's it. And locally, I mean, we Republican can't win here countywide. You just can't.
Yeah.
You can't win here countywide. And so you either have to hopefully change the Democrat Party, or come up with another party, or rebrand the Republican Party here. It's unfortunate. I mean, just give me an example. You win in districts. I mean, you have commissioner's race in 3 that's Republican. You have certain state races and Senate races that touch on Bexar County, but isn't it strange that even some of the Democrats are just keeping their mouth shut about the whole communist movement that is really taken over? Because they're afraid. They don't believe in it. They don't want it. I mean, look, you got Ron Nirenberg's going to run against Peter Sakai here. I mean, why?
Oh my gosh.
For what? What is Peter doing wrong? I mean, I've worked with Peter.
You've told
Sakai
us before.
When I was DA, and he was always for families, and he's an old school blue dog Democrat, and I don't follow local politics as much as I used to have been, especially lately. But okay, what is he doing wrong? Why would you run against another quote unquote Democrat? What is he doing?
Because he's not that kind of Democrat.
Well, I mean, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, right.
I guess. We're going to find out where we're at. San Antonio is what? The most dangerous per capita city in Texas? Per capita. I know Harris County has more crime and all that crap. I got it. But per capita, Harris County is way bigger than Bexar. Is that where we are? The DA here sucks. Just look at it. Even though he's too much of a coward to keep running, because he thought Ron Hell was going to run against him, and so he backed out because he's a coward, and he's going to criticize Ron for being a coward. Because why you're not running anymore? Because Judge Ron Hell said he's not going to run anymore, and now everybody's throwing their name in the hat, and people are calling me, and people are this and that, whatever. Look, that's a huge position, DA. It's a huge position, and we've seen the test, the experiment around the country and here locally of bad ideas. Forget about the platform. Bad ideas implemented, and lack of courage, and lack of leadership, and lack of inspiration, and then you get what you get. And here we are.
You're in the thick of it with your trial.
Look at this, what's happening, right?
Yeah.
But you don't think that tourism is going to be affected eventually? You don't think that tourism, if like, hey, where do we want to take our conference? San Antonio. Ooh. If San Antonio starts being thought of as Portland, are you kidding me? And even Portland finally changed its ways. And even Harris County, they elected a good DA, much better than the Kim Ogg and the nut job that was over there. I mean, it's just, look, that's why this tribalism drives me insane. What ideas are you advocating for? The DA should be a nonpartisan position. District court judges, district and county court judges, all of commissioner's court, and all of city council, in my opinion. Because then you force people to hear ideas. Then you can't just go, what, red, blue, what, donkey, elephant, okay, whatever. No, now I have to do some work. Now I don't get a freebie. Now there's no straight ticket anything. Now if I really want my vote to matter, I'm forced to find out what you believe in. That's me. That's my humble opinion. You can disagree, but the system right now is not working. So, all right, I'll stop my rant. I'm sorry. You're looking at me like...
It's all true.
Speaking.
It's all true. Okay, George. George is the one with the bad looks.
I just think in every example you gave, the opposing party is much more effective. Not only do they create the problems, but then spinning it to make it look like the other guy did it. And then the other guy is virtually silent during this time, and it doesn't help. I mean, everywhere across the board, Abigail Spanberger, totally incoherent on NPR. You guys, I promise you got to go back and listen. It was the most painful 7 minutes I had put myself through. Because in light of these issues, no one's analyzing what's really going on out there and communicating. Marco Rubio has an incredible skill.
Yeah, he does.
At breaking things down and articulating them. He's the guy we need inside. Now, his job, well, he's got several jobs, as he always reminds us. But his number one job is focusing outside the borders as Secretary of State. But that's the kind of approach we need. We need an almost dynamic, slightly professorial approach where you just kind of break it down for people in ways that they can grasp. The Democrats are doing it, but they're not breaking it down. They're appealing to emotion right now. And it's unfortunate. It's working. It really is working. People are giving them a pass on the rational front because they're appealing to their pain points right now that are not being addressed by the GOP.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Rubio being on top of the ticket next time. I mean, Rubio's got a kind of a Bukele feel to me. Kind of stoic, just very matter of fact. A little bit of humor every once in a while.
No emotion on his face.
Not really emotional, which I'm okay. And then JD's kind of this, more charismatic, trying to be like the times and being tough at times, and
because of his background,
and he's kind of, he's got an interesting smile, but I still like him a lot. But Rubio is just no nonsense. I think Rubio would be amazing, but I get the succession. I understand that JD's earned it. He's vice president, and he would be on the top of the ticket. But you got to start thinking about your message. You got to start thinking. Why wait? Get on. Why are you stop going on podcasts? Why has Trump stopped going on podcasts?
That's right.
I mean, yes, I get it. He's president. He's kind of busy. I get all that. But make shorter appearances. Bring podcasts in. You come bring your podcast to the White House. Who wouldn't do that? Invite the same people that got him into office to the White House and have a little podcast area right next to your ballroom, and then boom, and then there you go, and you can do all your podcasts and keep the narrative, and then put JD there. Think of the next. Let Rubio make some interviews. I mean, you have to do that. I know they're busy. Got it. Check. You're never gonna not be busy, and you're gonna not be busy really quick if you lose the next election. And you're really not gonna be busy.
Can't ignore
and you're
it.
gonna have a crap ton of time on your hands.
Yep.
So I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I just can make some observations humbly and see where it's going. But
I think that's the answer. I mean, no one's showing up. If you go back, you hear, you see a thread. Abigail Spanberger in Virginia. You see Katie Hobbs in Arizona. She's really sort of the Katie Hobbs on the East Coast. Katie Hobbs in Arizona. I mean, do you remember when Katie Hobbs was running? They asked her a basic question. She couldn't answer coherently about anything. She could not construct an English sentence, literally. There's another Katie going on in Seattle right now. It just occurs to me. She's running for mayor, Katie Wilson. Listen to her. She did a promo video. Go on her website. She's running for mayor of Seattle. Democrat, know nothing. Another Nepo baby. So she does a promo video where she's walking on the sidewalk, Nico. Again, no pushback. There's really nothing on the opposition against this. She's walking on the sidewalk. She's got a plate with pizza. And she's trying to explain why pizza is totally unaffordable. This is her promo video. And she says, well, pizza is totally unaffordable because government has made housing unaffordable. Follow that. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, you see what happened is there's all the money's going for rent. So there's not enough money left to pay for pizza. And so restaurant owners, if you own a pizza parlor, you're going to say, oh, geez, there's not enough money to pay for pizza. So demand's down. So I get it. Demand's down, so I'm going to increase prices. So that's why there's inflation. And that's why you can't afford your pizza, because restaurant owners they recognize that demand is down. So now they're raising prices because their share of people can afford pizza has dwindled. See that? Falling demand raises prices. And all these nut jobs around, oh, yeah, that makes total sense. She's literally reversed the laws of supply and demand. Nonsense. No one there. Crickets. And everybody's clapping. Yay, that's totally brilliant.
But that's a great, I say this lovingly, but that's great that we observe that. But then what? Then what? Okay, it's wonderful. We can talk about it. We make fun of it. We can do whatever. We can say how crazy. How can they be this way? But that's why someone like Charlie Kirk was making a difference.
That's right.
He was moving the needle.
That's right.
He was saying, okay, yeah, we can bitch about this all we want, but I'm gonna actually go into the lion's den and I'm gonna change hearts and minds, and I'm gonna go on podcast. I mean, Charlie was everywhere.
Yes, he was.
Everywhere.
Fearless, too.
I mean, and he would go from across the pond, over here, over there,
Yes.
debate this, that, and he was extremely talented at doing it, and he was trying to change hearts and minds. And I get that a couple people have tried to pick up the mantle, and it's just, look, whether you like it or not, oh, now that you took out Charlie, there's going to be 10 million more. Well, there's not. I mean, so you just have to deal with it. And so that's why, to me, that was such a huge loss. It really was. Now, of course, God is sovereign. It didn't take him by surprise. He obviously allowed it for the reasons he's allowing it for. But that it's a big hit. So hopefully this can be that wake-up call instead of a kind of discombobulation of the Republican Party. But we'll see. I mean, only time will tell. Look, guys, we're going to talk and answer some questions and maybe talk about Erica Kirk, because I mean, Karen's obsessed with her.
Oh, yeah.
And all
right.
that in the investigation. Maybe look at some of your comments. Join us for a little while after. For the rest of you, thank you for joining us. God bless you. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.
The preceding show was paid for by the LaHood Norton Law Group. The views and opinions expressed are those of the advertiser and do not necessarily represent.
Are we on, Jeff? Okay, we are on. And I have to admit that I have to catch up with everything that y'all were talking about.
Well, I
because
have to catch up too. I mean, I watch
Erica
bits
Kirk,
and pieces.
Candace Owens. What are y'all talking about? Can you fill us in?
Well, look, this is all of this. This ecosystem of voices is one of the reasons why Trump won and why Republicans gained a lot of ground and why youth overwhelmingly voted for Republicans, and why there's a conservative quote unquote movement with younger men, especially more than women, but even women as well. I mean, that's just a fact. So if you want to keep winning, you have to talk about this. Some people that will say, I don't want to talk about this. Let's talk about look. If you want to win, quote unquote, and define what a win is, if elections are wins, and ideas get shared and people get persuaded, because ultimately you win elections when people get persuaded. People are. I go back to El Salvador. Is it El Salvador, right, Bukele? That people were so persuaded that this murder-ridden country sucked nuts and nobody would go there, and they felt that they said, bring in this bold, unapologetic, yes, edgy guy to come in, and they are fully persuaded that way of life is the way to go. That guy can stay there as long as he wants, unless he does something ridiculous. When you win by 87% of your electorate, that's a big,
right.
middle
And the
finger.
price to pay for that was decades of agony. Decades of sheer agony.
Who wants that?
Yeah,
Do we want
exactly.
that? That's what I'm saying. When the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of changing, we change. I don't want that realization. I mean, God has got my attention through my life more than one time to where He doesn't have to yank me anymore. He can just nudge me. We're in a country where we need to be yanked. See, for me as a Christian, someone that's walking close with Christ, and I always use Mark 5 as this example when Jairus, when Jesus whispered, don't be afraid, just believe. When his daughter passed away and they were in the crowds and Jesus said he'll go heal her, and then they got caught up in the crowds, the woman with the blood disease, and the men from the house said, why bother the master? Your daughter's dead now. And he's like, oh shit. And then Jesus whispered in his ear. It doesn't say it in scripture, but he had to be close enough for him to say, don't be afraid, just believe. And he made a decision, a choice, not a feeling, because he must have felt like shit. He made a choice to follow Christ. And what was that walk like? The walk of Jairus back to his house. Have you thought about that? They didn't get on an airline and fly. I mean, he's probably walking with people, and that chick with her blood disease, like, well, good for you, bitch. I mean, he's probably thinking that in his mind. And then he's walking to his house and weeping. He had to have been weeping by himself. And was Yeshua saying, just hang on, Jairus? Or was he saying, like, no, he's got to suffer a little bit. He's got to go through this period of time, because then the healing will make it even worth it, and then he'll be a big advocate. I don't know, but that's the way my mind works. I want to know about that. I'll find out when I get to heaven, but that walk fascinates me. And then we know what happens if you read Mark 5. He goes there, he heals the lady, throws all the people whining and crying out, and he's bold. I mean, Christ was bold. And then he give her some food and get up. I love it. She's sleeping. I love that. That's the hope I have in me. All that to say is we have to deal with a young populace that if they're truly our future, we need to focus on them. And whether we like it or not, Candace Owens, even though Tucker's more my age, but he still has a voice in that arena. Turning Point USA, whatever's left of it or going to be left of it, whatever. There, you have Ben Shapiro, who's thankfully losing support. I don't say thankfully; he's not wrong about everything, but he drives me insane. He's annoying as shit to me, and I think he's losing popularity for a reason, and that's unfortunate because he was a very important voice at one point. I mean, and different people, what are we doing here and navigating, and you're bringing people in the fold. Vivek Ramaswamy was effective. Now he's running for governor, so I understand he's busy, but there's voices out there and getting on these podcasts and getting an Andrew Schultz to be open to conservative ideas and getting a Joe Rogan bought in. And now he's going to getting these. I mean, you're just going to let that dissipate and hope that you survive on your own? You got to nurture these things. And I don't know what the strategy was, if it happened organically, if there was really a strategy to do it aside from Trump, but it happened. And I think it's a big mistake to ignore these conversations. And Candace and Nick Fuentes, I mean, that guy's nuts in many ways, but he's second to Candace. I mean, on he's got views. I mean, so you got to deal with these people, whether you're an older conservative Republican or you're kind of middle of the road like me. I'm 53, you're 50, whatever. I mean, Karen, you're 40. I mean, so
thank you.
But what I'm saying, we got to deal with this.
And
This is our
especially
future.
Nick Fuentes, because he has got how many young male followers? I mean, that's what 5 million
on Rumble. And
Yes.
that's
Yes.
So you can you can disregard him.
Yeah.
You can ignore him. You think a bunch of left-wing progressive hacks are on Rumble? Maybe they are. I don't know. I mean, but you can ignore him. You have to deal with these people.
Yeah.
And then you have to find out and so you can just call them names and do all this crap. And Mark Levine can be angry. Like, he's always angry. I don't know how that guy doesn't have high blood pressure.
You know he does.
I mean, that's all. I don't even listen to him. I was like, I can't even hear him anymore.
He's
And
monetized anger. I mean,
holy shit,
I know.
his voice. I mean,
It's his voice. Him and Ben
no,
Shapiro.
but the problem is, the thing that is unfortunate is I agree with his constitutional
Yeah,
approach.
right.
I like a lot of what he says.
Yes,
It's like,
he's actually
and then
quite brilliant.
He calls
But
everyone
But
an
the voice.
anti-Semite. Everyone's an anti-Semite.
But the voice is, I
God.
mean, it's, I
Like,
don't know.
please, guys. I mean,
Fingernails on a
we
chalkboard
need
sometimes.
We need some reasoning. When Trump modeled common sense, that's what brought independents and some light Democrats over, and some Republicans that were going to stay home. People want common sense. You have to make your case, and that's why I love the arena of debate. That's why I love discussions. That's why I'm almost a free speech absolutist, and I believe in due process. Oh, I believe in the ideas of this experiment that we're going to be celebrating next year, 250 years. Man, do you think we're going to last another 250? I don't know. Not this rate.
So did we miss? I'm sorry. Go ahead. So did we miss the boat by not having Laura Trump, or is it Scott Pressler out in front of the crowd changing minds and all of the podcasts? Did we miss the boat? Is this a wake up call, or I mean, how is it going to change? I mean, is it too late? You keep talking about Bukele, but I think from the time he got elected to the time things turned around, how long was it? Because Trump has only been in office, what, not even a year yet. Did it turn around in a year? Did he get it done that quickly?
Look, and it was marvelous. It wasn't just him. It was Vance going on, like to Nico's point, going on podcast after podcast. But they were talking real issues. They were addressing real issues, and they were addressing things that mattered. I'm trying to figure out now, what are you suggesting? You suggesting they continue to do that on the same podcast? Just don't stop. Continue that campaign of communication.
The Republicans?
Right.
Yes.
So Vance, Trump,
Rubio.
Keep the messaging out there.
And I mean, look, whether you like it or not, I mean, and I know people either love or hate Candace. I don't know. I guess I'm in like the third camp. I'm lukewarm on her. I think she's asking good questions. I like some of her mindset. I love the pushback on just narratives and stuff. I'm not a go along to get along guy. But then I also think that she's very dangerous in her over accusations and her speculation and her this. And if she says something, it's ended. And Charlie came to me in a dream. It's like, okay. I mean, I'm fine. God uses dreams, but I don't know. Charlie doesn't use dreams. I mean, I don't know how that works. And so, and if that's fine, that's your dream. It could be a thought, but I'm sure you dreamt about a pink elephant at one point too. And what does that mean? I mean, so all I'm saying is that's to me, okay, that's not solidified for me. I mean, God's gonna confirm things. Now, could there be a conspiracy? Are there things that don't make sense to me? Yes, but I'm the guy that pauses. Now, has she capitalized on this? I don't know her intentions and her motive. I mean, and her point is, look, I love Charlie as my friend. Why aren't other people want to find this out? When she's calling out the Trump kids, she's calling out the administration, she's calling out Turning Point USA. She's stopped short of calling out Erica Kirk. But I mean, I would want the truth. Now, Erica made a claim on Jesse Waters that said, I've seen all the evidence. I'm not all of it, she said, but I've seen enough. I know what evil this was. I was like, okay, did they show you some of it? Is he part of it? This the guy Tyler kid? Is this or that? Or is there other people in conjunction? Is he a patsy? I'm thinking, my mind's different, man. I think differently about putting things together in it, because I've seen some crazy situations that looked a certain way on the
surface. How much of
Yes.
this stuff is appropriate to put out in the public square, number one? Number two, is it ever going to be enough with a personality like Candace? I personally don't think it ever will be. She traffics in tabloid shit. No, come on, man.
I don't know about that one.
I mean, she does.
She's been corrected before.
Yeah, agreed. Does she receive it?
Before.
No. Candace doesn't receive correction.
Well, I mean, I'm not defending her. My criticism of her is as hard as you are on Israel, you should be as hard on Islam. Yes. Educate yourself, man. You've been in this arena way too long. Educate yourself about Islam. Don't downplay Mamdani winning and all this other stuff, and then Zionist. That's all she says is everyone's a Zionist. Okay, and then so you got everyone's a Zionist, whatever the hell that means anymore. I mean, we've lost definitions like everyone's a Nazi, and then you got Ted Cruz calling people Nazis. Now I thought the Democrats called people Nazis, and then you got Mark Levine and everybody else, and Ben Shapiro calling everybody an anti-Semite. It's like, guys, shut the fuck. Let's just talk. I mean, you know, and I know people don't like Tucker. I like someone that can reason through their ideas. Candace is a little too kind of, you know, Finding Nemo for me, you know, all over the place. She's all over the place. And Tucker, I mean, he's more calm. I don't agree with everything he says. I just want people to reason. We got to sit down and reason and bring evidence and then debate and then really test our ideas on who's really the conservative, what that really means, and all this other stuff.
Bombing Iran, for example, it was Dave Smith, Candace Owens, and a bunch of people on that side that were saying he's forcing us into war. He wants to put American troops on the ground. He wants to put young boys on the in Iran and fight Israel's wars. None of that happened, and they didn't take accountability for it and say, you know what, we were wrong.
There's not going to be any accountability. This is a machine. It's a machine. It's views. It's money. It's activity.
Also, yeah.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. I'm not saying it isn't important. I think it is. I think the podcast machine isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I think that is important. I think it's an important lever for winning elections, and I think Republicans need to take advantage of it, like they did in 2024. But there's a very, very dark side, and I'm not sure, man.
Dark side of what?
There's a very dark side to it because it perpetuates on crisis. It perpetuates on the next big conspiracy. This isn't a forum where you're going to get people to come together and resolve issues. It's never going to fucking happen because there's no money in it. There's no money in resolution. There's only money in conflict. You got to keep it going. Candace Owens is not a voice of reason. She sounds much more angry now than she ever did. Go back to Candace in 2020 and listen to her stuff. And listen to her now. I mean, just unhinged shit.
Yeah, but the problem is, I'm sorry, brother. I'm in trial mode. But
that's okay.
But
it's working for you.
It seems like that because you have legitimate. Because I agree with your criticism, by the way, but that you dismiss her.
Now, hold on a second. How did I go from a big apologist for Candace to being a detractor now? It didn't. I mean, I couldn't say
that everything she says is wrong.
No, brother. I never said that. I've never said that everything she says is wrong. In fact, I've said I can identify the things that she said that were necessary. She was a very important voice at a critical time that said things nobody else was saying and was saying things very effectively. Her stuff on mRNA vaccines and the censorship machine, that was priceless. That was priceless and absolutely necessary. And she was on an island for a while, I think. And it was a critical voice, and she did a huge favor to America. I truly believe that. And she deserves our thanks for that. And I believe she's received our thanks. And interesting and ironically, leading the thanks parade was Ben Shapiro, who then brought her on and helped make her a household name. The guy that she just told to fuck off right now and say, thanks for firing me. That's classless. That's ungracious. That's the personality that is Candace right now. It's that type of stuff. Well, did you see what Candace did? She told Ben Shapiro to fuck off. Oh, isn't that funny? More views.
I don't think she said it that way, brother. But I mean, look.
Hey, thanks for. I'm free, and it's that serious question. I mean, what am I missing? How is that a classy?
You're missing the amount of money that the
Ben,
WWE
thanks for firing
makes
me
because of the same thing.
Yeah,
that's my worry. I worry.
Why was she fired? Look. I think
we know why. They were pretty open about that. You can agree or disagree, but they were pretty open about that.
She changed once October 7th happened.
Right. That
she's completely wrong about that. Look, I'm not defending Candace Owens. I'm just saying that her questions are legit. She's a force. We can bitch about her. You can write her off, but she's the #1 podcast for now, and
she's the #1 podcast in one stat. She's not the #1 podcast. That was a misrepresentation.
She wasn't even close before. All I'm saying is,
oh no, that's what I said.
The Nick Fuentes is the world, and the Candace Owens have to be contended with. That's all I'm saying. I mean, Shapiro, Tucker's kind of he's a steady Eddie. You know, he's steady Eddie from what I've seen. But I'm you know me. To me, it's about a win. And a win for me is the set of ideas that I think will bless all Americans, even people that disagree. I want a free exchange of ideas. I want free speech. I want truth, and that's it. Period. End of story. Now, if she's genuine, because only God knows her intent. If she's genuine about wanting to find out, look, I mean, I've had someone murdered in my family. You guys know that. Yeah. What's wrong with wanting to find out? Right. And maybe. Everyone mourns differently. I got it. I deal with mourning almost for a living, and I've been through mourning with my family, my brother, and all that stuff. Everybody mourns differently, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Are you? I don't know. How much of that is appropriate to release to the public square? Because you're not going to release an autopsy, right?
I wouldn't as DA, no.
No, you're not going to do that. So that. And so my point is the slightest bit of silence because of legitimate discretion in this machine will be turned into a conspiracy.
Well, but the problem is
because there's money in it.
But then the problem is when you have people in control, they let out information about other things, but then that same principle is not applied here. I have a problem with it. See, when I was DA, I was like, nothing. We're not trying this case in the court of public opinion. Right. Not just for this case and this case and this case. And this is somebody's pet case, so I'm going to let the information
we release this info, but not this info.
You're not getting shit. Right. Yeah. Come watch the trial, and then when the case is over, file the Freedom of Information Act, and I'll release it all. That's consistency. That's a principle. But when you do this and you tweet about everything, and then you do this, and then you hold this back, and it's because you got to be careful. Okay, well then I want to see consistency in everyone's lives, from Candace to Cash
to everyone.
No,
I just want
somebody got
consistency.
that message because Kash Patel stopped posting stupid shit in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk murder. So somebody got that message. But the point is very valid.
But I don't mind her asking questions.
What about no, brother? It's free.
That's it.
Ask on. God
But
bless her.
I don't like the insinuations of look. You better be so sure. Don't say it seems like turning points. But holy shit, you're saying someone's guilty of conspiracy to commit a murder. Yeah. I mean, the treachery. Forget about Caesar. I mean, them to murder. I mean, are you kidding me? Now, is this person acting weird and this person runs on their phone immediately? That's legit. Or how did they get there so quickly? And how did they book this thing? Okay, all those questions should be vetted out. And guess what? The DA who's prosecuting that case has a lot of those answers. That camera behind Charlie, they said they turned it over to the FBI. FBI is not the appropriate agency to have that. It's the local DA because they're the ones prosecuting the case.
Is it legitimate? Is it believable that the investigation is ongoing? It hasn't yet rested, and that it's premature to be releasing a narrative at this point. Is that legit? Should law enforcement? I don't know if it's Kash Patel or anybody else. Should law enforcement right now be having public conversations about that or public
question? Ask me. I'll tell you how I'd act in that position. Okay. You do a press conference. Ask me the question. Look, we're exploring every option. And people have questions about A, B, and C. Say the question. Say what they're saying, and the theory, and the person here, and the multiple shooters, and the secret this, and even the betrayal of his security staff. Okay, we're gonna look at all that, guys. We're gonna look at all that. But you have to trust the process, and at the right time, all this evidence is going to be presented because we're prosecuting somebody for this. Tyler, whatever the fuck his name is. What's his name? Tyler what? Robinson. That dude. He's going to. He could get death, and they haven't made a decision on death, from what I understand. But this guy's. We're gonna go to trial on this, and you're gonna see all this evidence in a public courtroom. So I understand that people want to know this was a tragedy. The family deserves some respect. But you squelch this stuff when you address people's concerns. You don't go dark on it. You just say it. Say, I acknowledge it. It's going to be looked into. And at some point, you're going to be able to call me out. Because at some point, I have to shit or get off the pot. And you're going to see the evidence.
To include publicizing the trial, I think?
What do you mean publicizing?
I mean, putting the trial on
live.
Television.
Why not?
I'm asking.
Well, why wouldn't you? Give me the reason why you wouldn't.
Because they're saying they're not going to, right?
Why wouldn't you? Because my guys
I don't know.
The guys my guy, but we've been on live stream for 4.5 fucking weeks. So you tell me why this one shouldn't be on live stream.
Right.
I'm just.
I mean, no. So don't. You live stream it. Live stream the hell out of it. Who cares?
Okay.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, what's the argument against it?
Yeah.
Well, give me the faux argument against it.
I'm for disclosing everything
Well,
in
then
the
what?
appropriate
Same,
in the appropriate. I just believe in discretion. So there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. I mean, to your point, you got to be careful the kind of shit that gets out there because you could be undermining an investigation.
That's different. Look, I like I said, when
I'm just trying to figure out where those lines are. I guess
they're clear lines to me. I mean, I don't release that. Release this video. Release that video. And people used to make DAs when I was in office. Other DAs would release videos because of public uproar. But if you just go to and say, look, guys, we have the videos. You're going to see all of them. I'm not going to influence the jury. I don't want a motion to change venue. And then we're going to go somewhere else. I'm not going to be part of that process and that problem. And so you're going to see all the videos at the right time. I remember there was a shooting where, and I didn't even send it. It was an officer involved shooting. I didn't even send it to the grand jury. I didn't need the grand jury to cover my ass because, you're the DA, make a decision. And I told some advocates on the east side that when I make a decision, I will meet with you and I will show you everything, depending if I can. If we prosecute, then you're not going to see it until we go to court. But if we don't indict and we don't take to the grand jury, I'll meet with you. I ended up making a decision with counsel. I took my time and we researched everything and I made a decision not even to present it. See, some weak ass DAs, they'll present it to the grand jury and then go into the grand jury and say, don't indict this one.
But in that gap, you're not publicizing anything.
Well, I'm finished. Right? Yes, I'm not finished. So you come back with a no bill, no bill or true bill of indictment or whatever. I didn't do that. I said, I'm not even sending it to the grand jury. And I met with them. And I met with the group. And I showed them. I did a full presentation in the 7th floor. And it was a heated conversation. And I gave it back. And we're not going to sit there. I'm not a fucking piñata. And we had, and they respected it. We left. We shook hands. They appreciated it. They saw. I answered questions. They cross-examined me and I cross-examined them. And everybody's stumbling over themselves. And I'm showing exactly what our logic was. And I had my staff there. And we had our investigators there. And I had the prosecutors that helped me make the evaluation. And I did my evaluation. And I kept but to your point, I didn't release anything. You can't. Release the video. No. No's a full sentence. No, I'm not releasing the video. Why? Because Everyone deserves due process. There's that funny word again, due process, fundamental fair play. The accused, even though I wouldn't be prosecuting them if I didn't think they were guilty, deserves due process. They deserve a fair and impartial jury.
So looking at the anatomy of this thing, you would have done a better job coming out front and saying, look, we're going to look at all the evidence. We understand here are the main questions we're hearing. We're going to look at all that stuff. And at the appropriate time, we'll come back and tell you what our path forward is going to be maybe. And then kind of having radio silence and then be doing these kinds of things during which there's no communication really with the press. That's kind of what we're in right now. There's no communication right now.
So we have video of this kid, allegedly, I guess it was him. I don't know. I mean, it was from a distance, jumping off a building. Mm-hmm. Where's the video of him getting on the building? I don't know. I mean, and they say that place had video camera everywhere. So there may be video of him actually taking the shot. Maybe. I don't know. And then you're going to do wound path analysis. And I would say, look, guys, there's video. I'm just not going to show it to you right now. At the right time, you're going to see the video.
Right.
All your questions, it's on video. That's it. And I'm not going to talk about the wound path analysis. All I can tell you is I would not be prosecuting this case if we didn't think we had the suspect responsible. Now, if your concern is there's other people accountable, he's one of many people. We'll investigate it. If you have any tips, please call this number. Let us know. Anybody want to talk? Bring your evidence. I would invite that information. That's me.
And
That's how I would do it.
So then there's a period of discretion during which you're not really communicating with the press. Up until when? Up until
you see it in trial or until you have a question. I mean, look at this idea that in every once in a while, if it's that big of a case that big,
yeah.
I mean, you're going to do periodic press conferences, maybe on court appearances. If he has
so there you have it. That's why it's not happening.
He's going to do completely the opposite of the O.J. Simpson trial. That was one that was definitely all out in the open in the press, right?
And that's really what hasn't happened here. There's been no meaningful, organized communication strategy. And so in that lull, Candace flourishes. Nick Fuentes flourishes.
I know, but the number and that.
So it's not their fault. I mean, I don't blame them. It's economically brilliant.
If you
it's
stop
working.
and think, the number one podcast in America by far are the novice crime solvers. Like
crazy,
that
right?
Is the number one thing.
Yep.
Everybody wants to figure out what happened, and they're banking.
My wife keeps telling me, she goes, Chulo, you got to do a crime. And there's some chick online that I think she does her nails or some crap and just talks about old cases.
Old cases.
I haven't seen it yet, but I got to look at it.
There's even Netflix specials.
Funny, man. People are funny.
You know, that talk about these people. Everybody wants to figure it out. That's like
my world.
Their way.
I'm looking at podscribe.com, the one that attributed number one slot to Candace in number of downloads per episode.
I wouldn't look into downloads. The problem is we live in a streaming world. I don't download podcasts.
I'm with you, brother. That's what I was going to say. She's number one in that, but it's not. She should have just been transparent about that, and that's that. Good for her, and it's a move in the right direction, and she should be thanking people. That's all fine and good. But to say she's the number one podcast in the world, she's not even in the top 10 in terms of total reach. That's where the Daily. I don't know what's the Daily followed by this crime junkie that you're talking about.
The Daily is just like.
Number one podcast in terms of
isn't it like
biggest stories of our
crimes
time
and things that are happening? The
best way to really assess this is where is Nick Fuentes' show, because his has 5 million. He has 5 million people on Rumble. If he's higher than Candace or lower than Candace, that's really the gauge for me. Because
but wasn't the reason he became so popular is because everybody dropped him and he couldn't make money, so he started saying bizarre, extreme things, and that's
he's been saying bizarre, extreme things for a while,
right?
But, yes.
Yeah, but so Tucker has him on his show. And then everybody wants to cancel Tucker. Why? Well, you're not a friend of Charlie's because this guy criticized Charlie. He's having a conversation. I mean, I don't.
They're trying to cancel Stephen Colbert because he had Sydney Sweeney on because she wore the blue jeans and that
Sweeney?
that actress. Yeah, it's like everybody's trying.
This
too
cancel
hard.
shit drives me insane.
Yeah, they're trying
I
too
don't
hard.
like cancel culture. Period. End of story.
Yeah, right.
And that applies to everybody. I don't want Republicans canceling Democrats. I don't want Democrats. I don't want progressives and conservatives back. I don't want any of that. You can say the most vile things. If you want to start a podcast criticizing special needs kids, especially kids on the spectrum, I will tell you to go fuck off because I have the free speech to do that. But have at it. Go at it. And I'll criticize you, and then people can watch what they want. That's it. I mean, I don't this whole and the name calling and Nazi and everyone's a Nazi or an anti-Semite. Don't do the same crap that you criticize others for. I can't stand that. To me, you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. And that. But see, this is where when Candace comes across like she just wants answers, and look, not even though I disagree with her passionately on certain things, And even the way she's handling certain stuff, I can sift through the bullshit to find the kernel. And it's like, but she's asking good questions in this one area, or this area, or this, or whatever. I mean, I really try to separate my emotions, and when I analyze evidence and I look at someone's behavior. But maybe that's what I try to do. I mean, I'm not perfect. But any questions when we get out of here?
No. Everybody's
And we're doing
getting
good.
it. They're talking about the Crime Junkie podcast and stuff. Crime Weekly has a good podcast.
Who does that one? I mean, there's a lot of views on those things.
I know, but there's just
and what do
tons
they do?
of them.
They just analyze old
Go
cases?
through old cases.
And just talk about them.
And everybody tries to figure them out.
I've told you.
Well, I thought are they cold cases?
Some are cold cases,
I think
yes.
you've been suggesting that,
I
Jeff.
told you about the reacting to body cam stuff and all that stuff.
Look, but you know I'm not going to do it. So if you and Davi set it up, I'll sit there, watch it, and I'll react to it. So you and Davi set it up. I know Davi's
I'll call
doing,
your wife.
Yeah, but she's doing a lot with that. But because there needs to be a perspective when you put, like Candace will say things like she's a lawyer, and then I was like, oh, Candace, don't talk out of your ass. I mean, then she makes these conclusions, but everybody does it, and I just encourage people to pause, conversation, wait. But look, she's doing well. She's capitalizing on it, whether she wants to admit it or not. And she,
All I can think about when she says extreme things, or any of these podcasters, or even Megan
Kelly.
Megan's been good, though.
I like her.
She has, of course, but when they say things that are like out there, I think monetization.
Megan's been pretty
monetization. Yes,
said
you're
anything
right.
crazy?
No, but I just hated it when she talks
does that
about
mean?
Hollywood news. It's like,
Oh,
wait,
gotcha.
what?
Well, she's trying to appeal to other people,
I
but that's our own
know.
sensitivity. She's
I
got
know.
she's trying to be consistent in what she criticizes or she analyzes.
She asked Tucker.
Megan tried to
She
reconcile
asked,
Ben
she asked
and
Tucker
Tucker
about
also.
some of the stuff you're talking about, and he says, maybe I made a mistake having Nick on. And again, I think nobody should be censoring anybody. Let them talk. But the idea that you want to encourage, though, that's the other issue. I think, do I want to encourage people that are just, I think, are batshit crazy on some stuff? And then, I mean, knowing how impressionable young people are today, particularly, some of the stuff they're saying is outright unhinged, violent, and crazy.
Yeah.
Do I want to give them a platform to do that? I mean, at some point that becomes that's a moral quandary. I mean, you got to think through that.
Unless you have them on so you can push back on their ideas and you can show how crazy.
Oh,
they
true
are.
enough.
That's
Yep.
different. And so
That
that was
is
some of the
different.
criticism that maybe that Tucker
Just
did. I didn't
learn.
watch it.
Exactly.
did
He
I.
pushed back enough.
Sort of softball stuff.
You know,
That's where I
I
am,
mean,
too.
do what you did to Ted Cruz, Tucker. To
Exactly.
be honest with you, just do it. And I thought that was a legit.
Yeah.
Ask that. Those were. There's nothing that bothered me about what Tucker and Ted Cruz exchange was. Ted should have been more prepared. And I say that respectfully. But then do the same thing. Candace, make your comments about Israel legit. Do it. But then criticize Islam and criticize the Islamic nations also and what they're doing and this jihadist movement and all the other stuff that's happening and the UK and what's happening. Your husband's from the UK. You're not pissed off that the UK's has more Mohammed names than Johnson. I mean, you don't care about. I guess not. That's fine then. That's cool or not cool. I think it's stupid. But I mean, that's my opinion too. So I you know me. I just look for consistency. That's it. And that's all right, guys. Thanks for joining in. Karen, are we good?
We're good.
All
We're
right,
good.
guys. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.